Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
We are live. Welcome to the Token Metrics Monday live stream. I'm your host, Bill Noble. This live stream is brought to you by tokenmetrics.com. If you need a roadmap in crypto and you need to make money in the metaverse, please subscribe to this channel. Also, turn on alerts so you get notified when we're going on the air. I'm joined today by my friends, Michael and Mehdi. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
All right. So today we're going to be looking to go through Metaverse and NFTs, as well as layer ones that can benefit from this theme. So let's welcome everyone who's on the stream. Taz, first on the stream, as always, welcome. Nick Aiken, okay, what's up from London? Travis is into Vulcan. We'll talk about that. Travis will probably be happy when he sees the charts. Okay, Montreal is here, as well as the Caribbean. Okay, somebody is super happy that AVAX is above 70. Okay, we've got Florida, Liverpool, Pembroke, Florida, Canada, Romania. They're coming in from all over the world. All right, Virginia, Malaysia, up late at night, no doubt. Sushi Nori, what's up, Bill? Let's talk about what's up. All right, rounding it out, we have New Orleans, Switzerland, and Australia. Okay, folks, not playing around today. Let's get to your market update. Okay, LFG, NFA, ETFD, NFT, EVM, and SAND. What do these things mean? Well, we've gone over some of them on prior live streams. Some of them are off color, okay? But what it means is license to speculate is in effect for 30 days. The question is, how do you play it, right? We're going to show you how to make money in the metaverse, and we're going to give you some clues in NFTs. For Token Metrics subscribers, later on today, we will be releasing our prototype NFT scoring sheet. Okay, here's a hint. Our guys found Azuki, okay, if I'm pronouncing that right, okay, when trading at 3 ETH, and it's just below 10. So our NFT analysts know what's up, and that's coming out later today. Let's get on the LFG front. So let's begin with legacy. Fear, as measured by VIX, was as high as 30 for all of last week. Even though Bitcoin was holding and equities really didn't crash, fear was very high. Why? Well, because everybody assumes the market's going to crash now. Okay, now there could be a decline in risk assets in March or May, but I think, people are overhedged and too afraid at the moment. Looking at ARK. So this is very important. ARK is the altcoins of the equity market, meaning these are the most speculative stocks. They've gotten destroyed. I suggested a short squeeze if support at 67 held. That's playing out so far. And I think if ARK is above 72, we're looking at more pain for the shorts. All right. Now, I'm not necessarily advocating getting long ARK, but this idea that people are too bearish at the moment is helping drive price action in sectors in crypto. Now, as a technical leading indicator, if ARK is up, crypto can be up. So something to keep on your trading view. Now, I spent the weekend watching Oliver Stone's interviews with Vladimir Putin from back in 2017. He had 4 conversations with Mr. Putin. It's a 4-part series. I did see some of it available on YouTube. Mr. Putin is a serious character. He has 125,000 troops on the Ukrainian border, which is what's creating a lot of fear in the market. Now, it's not clear whether Mr. Putin is going to do a Desert Storm Russia version and try to run through the Ukraine with his army, or where his army is there to make a point and get everyone to listen to what he wants to do on the political front. Why am I telling you this? Well, if you're looking at the metaverse today and you're like, damn, I missed it, right? That's the definition of a bottom. Everybody misses it. It's the same thing as a top. Everyone misses it. I think in the first week of February, something is going to happen with these guys. Either, Russia may shoot, Russia may start shooting. Somebody might take a shot at the Russians. There could be a geopolitical development, leaders resigning. I don't know. But if there's a development with this situation, I believe it's a buying opportunity in things like the metaverse and NFTs. Okay. It's also a reason to not necessarily FOMO in today. I think you have to have a position, but you want to be cognizant of BTFD off anything related to this geopolitical situation. Now, let's talk about the metaverse and let's talk about the history, okay, of, initial rallies followed by crashes. This goes back to 2019. So in 2019, nobody was talking about ETH or DeFi. And throughout the first half of 2019, ETH went from 80 to 340 off the initial DeFi rally. So this was even before the Uniswap token came out, right? ETH and DeFi was this enormous narrative. And then, of course, it was kind of sell in the summer and go away that, DeFi turned around and crashed and ETH went from 340 straight back to 114. The point is this: when a narrative or sector develops, when it's kind of a new thing, it's fairly common to have the sector run up and then crash back and watch everybody out. And then from there, the really big move unfolds. Now, in this case, there was a disturbance with COVID in early 2020, but as I'm sure you're well aware, 2020 and 2021, okay, had big rallies in altcoins. And that rally was born, okay, from this initial rally and then crash in DeFi. Now, let's talk about how that could possibly apply to the metaverse. Post-Fed, we came out with 2 videos, okay, which not that many people watch, which is okay, because that's kind of the sign that you have a bottom. And I'm not going to lie, it made me nervous producing these videos. One of them was called License to Speculate, okay, because with the Fed, right, the printing press is still on. Everyone is lost on this, right? They're going to hike interest rates, but the printing press for the moment is still running. And it's still going to be running in March. Even if they raise rates, they just may print a little less money, but it's running. And then I published 50 altcoin charts, right? Basically highlighting that altcoins were at support across a wide variety of sectors. Now let's look at total 3. That's basically my measure of total altcoin market cap. The bad news is there's a head and shoulders top formation. The good news is if altcoin market cap, okay, can take out, say, $693 billion, right? If we can get a $30 billion rally in altcoins, okay, that could reverse the negative formation. Or at worst, just create kind of a strong retest of the resistance near 690 to 700 billion. There's a lot of room to go up. And altcoins could rally a lot if they take out 693 billion. So there's a case for altcoins to move higher at multiple levels in the short term. Question is, how do you make money in the metaverse and NFTs and other places in altcoins during the month of February? Because I'm telling you right now, people, straight up, if you're going to make money in crypto being long, you got to do it in February, and maybe you might just stretch that out into May. But you got to make money. You got to do it in February. All right. Let's talk about Bitcoin. All right. So let's review what I've said. Metaverse rallied and then crashed the same way DeFi did. The Fed has given you license to speculate during February, and people may be a little bit too bearish. Now, what does that mean for Bitcoin? Bitcoin has been trading in a range between 33 and 39. All right. Bitcoin, if it goes to 39 and there's a geopolitical event in the first week of February, Bitcoin could get hammered. Okay. Bitcoin could go to 34. It'd be awesome if Bitcoin broke out, but it has not paid to buy Bitcoin as it was rallying. So I think you have to give crypto and equities a little bit of room to get a little bit scared in the first week of February. If that happens, okay, hopefully Bitcoin doesn't wind up, at a new low. I'm thinking that doesn't happen, but you have to be careful. You have to be careful about buying strength in Bitcoin. Now let's look at ETH. All right, let's look at ETH. Okay, let's take a look at ETH. ETH is now at 2,600. ETH could go to 2,700, but that seems like resistance. So what I'm trying to say in ETH and Bitcoin is that you're probably going to get a dip. So I don't know if FOMOing into ETH and Bitcoin at these levels makes sense. It's probably closer to resistance, and you want to try to buy a dip. Now, if there is no dip, okay, I won't be upset, okay, and hopefully people holding crypto won't be upset. I don't think I want to buy strength in sort of like the plain vanilla cryptos right now. Now, let's talk about Sandbox. Sandbox has done nothing but go up for, say, 3 or 4 days, and every dip is getting bought. Right? The metaverse is where money is being allocated to hide from any fears about equity, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Right? It's obvious because it's been going up for 3 days, and license to speculate, well, where better else to speculate than the metaverse? Also note in Sandbox that you had this huge rally from 50 cents to $8, and then you had this crash from $8 back to $3. Now, does that sound familiar? It looks just like ETH and DeFi back in 2019, right? All the way up and then crash back down, right? 2 to 3 month rally, 2 to 3 month crash. Back with DeFi, it was a 6-month rally and a 5-month crash, right? It's like markets love symmetry. So everyone's washed out, and I'm guessing in sand, right? You got to have at least a position. So if you're not long, not investment advice, having a small position or having a position, right, seems to make sense, right? So don't FOMO into ETH and Bitcoin, but you could pay to have a position in sand with the idea, listen to me, with the idea that if it dips, you got enough capital to get involved. So do not put the rent money in the metaverse today, right? Start to move in and then see what happens in the next 3 days. Sandbox is partnering with Warner Music to create a music-themed world in the metaverse. How do I read this? Well, metaverse, like Sandbox and Decentraland, were basically a giant land play, right? All the land is owned, right? And I know Decentraland wasn't happy that nobody was developing the metaverse. Well, if you look at this, metaverse may be moving because people may be doing development inside the decentralized metaverse. Microsoft bought, right, Activision. Okay, Metaverse hung out and sort of went down after that. Now Metaverse is picking up. So Sandbox is creating the narrative, right? Sandbox is leading. Now, let's talk about Decentraland from a token metrics point of view. And you're like, whoa, bro, this is a busy graph. Yes, it is. This is hot off the press from our quant department. Okay. In the bottom right-hand corner, you have red and blue lines. That shows the price of Decentraland, and it shows the token metrics like AI grade for Decentraland. What you'll notice is the grade and the price are starting to turn up from very low levels. Now, you can also see that on the right-hand side, you have a green bar. The green bar means that Decentraland has started to show up in our indices. So even though, the rally is kind of just going, our AI is picking up on this and allocating it to some of our portfolios. Now take a look at Sandbox, bottom right-hand corner, right? Price up, that's red. Token metrics grade, that's blue. Now, if you don't get it, don't worry about it. Look at the green lines on the right. That means that Sandbox has been showing up in our indices now for 5 days. So our AI picked up on Sandbox soon after license to speculate. It's starting with Decentraland and Sandbox and has the potential to spread. Okay, looks rare. Had somebody, smart person, asking me about this morning. Looks rare is an NFT marketplace, and volume has started picking up. This thing bounced off 4 and is now at 4.5 and has a shot of going back to $5.40. Again, there's a buy the dip narrative in all these plays. This thing was as high as 7. NFTs never went down. ETH moved, but NFTs didn't. So if you're looking for NFTs and metaverse plays, start looking harder, right? Tokenmetrics.com. Subscribe to this channel because you're going to want to hear everything that Mehdi and Michael have to say about all these coins over, say, the next couple of weeks. Now, let's talk about the Metaverse Index. You're like, what Metaverse Index? I'm like, well, the MVI token, right? Tradable on decentralized exchanges, I believe Uniswap. Now, Metaverse is up, but this index was at 375 and it's now at 150. So it seems from a risk-reward point of view to possibly grab some exposure in case this thing takes off in the next week, right? The Winter Olympics are coming up. Bitcoin could dip. There could be a geopolitical event. Who cares? Who cares, right? You may get a dip in this. You may not, all right? As the joke goes, if I liked Metaverse at 350, I really got to like it at 150. Okay, here's the Decentraland chart. Note on the right-hand side, how many days in a row has Decentraland been green? Capital is flowing into this area. Frequently, when Decentraland or any of these coins go green, like 5 or 6 days in a row, there can be one flash dip. That's like last chance buying, and then it launches. So you got to think about this. If every crypto hedge fund knows that this is not exactly going to be a great year for crypto, and equities are too bearish, all the capital in the crypto space could start piling in here. So whether it's overvalued or undervalued from a risk-reward standpoint, I can see people piling into these coins. Okay, now Solana. Solana's basically been given up for dead. It didn't trade well. I was not exactly positive on Solana over the last month. Solana got to its head and shoulders top target at 100. Naturally, as is with all things in crypto, it doesn't overshoot down to 81. If Solana comes back above 100, remember this: Solana is a great place for NFTs. So if something was trading at, 5 Solana, 4 months ago, okay, that NFT is now in Solana terms, right? It's cheaper because Solana is cheaper in dollar terms. So don't forget about Solana as an NFT marketplace, because that whole sector looks like it's about to explode. Luna, a slightly more sobering scenario. The 200-day moving average is around 50. All right. We liked it in the 50 area, not investment advice. The risk is a drop to 20. Hopefully, the 200-day moving average holds. Okay. So keep an eye on 50 in Luna. Now let's go back to the metaverse. Okay. We have Render, sort of an index play in the metaverse, because these guys literally help render the 3D images. Okay, you had a monster down move after a monster up move because venture capitalists unloaded on an unsuspecting public after being able to invest at 30 cents. Imagine that. All right. Now, Render is actually doing a big green candle after sellers came in yesterday. Hard to see on the graph, but everybody was in a big hurry to sell Render yesterday, and now Render's up big today. So bulls are starting to take control of this market. Now, I don't know if you buy it up as much as it is today. It has not paid to FOMO into anything in 2022. So you can wait to see if it dips. Okay, Illuvium, right? A subtle breakout happening here. I'm seeing this across a broad variety of charts. Okay. Some of these coins that mooned during the metaverse are slowly making bottoms. I'm looking at like 563, 595 in Illuvium, right? Not everything is taken off yet. A lot of the stuff that rallied when the metaverse rallies hasn't done much. Cube, okay, all the way up and totally destroyed. Monster give up trade in January. Okay, the 200-day moving average is at 725. All right. So if you get a breakout and a return move, then that could be a sign this can go a lot higher. You could also get a dip in the first week of February. So you have to stay disciplined and not necessarily FOMO into everything. You can have a small position, but you're going to be watching this show and these charts to see if you get confirmed breakouts in these coins. Okay, Wilder World. Interesting that price went down a lot, made a new low, but RSI, a 9-day RSI, did not. So again, a lot of metaverse coins have not woken up yet. Okay, Engine Coin, ENJ. Okay, another coin that's up like 4 to 5 days in a row. Bounced off 160, supports probably around like 180. Tough to see on the chart, but dips are being bought here. Buyers are taking control of the metaverse. Okay, Vulcan. Everyone asking me about Vulcan on the stream. I get it. This thing was unbelievable. Probably created a lot of bag holders on the way down. Everybody gave up in January. It looks like it's breaking out. I know it's up 10% today, right? The 200-day moving average is at 1236. Now, honestly, with the way this is trading, if you wanted to ape into this, I get it. I get it. I mean, it's a tough call, right? After it's up, right, the question is, what do I do, right? Sometimes I think you have to have a core position. You have to have a small position so you don't lose your mind in case it goes up, right? I don't want you to FOMO in at 15, right? You can have a small position now and try to get a dip in early Feb. Flow is also moving This is like an OG NFT play. This thing's up 6 days in a row, coming back down and retesting 6 again, right? NFTs. Okay, Ecomi showing up in our indices. Very interesting play here, right? It's below resistance at 0.0075, and it's not backing off. So our AI is picking up on something that's kind of got this sideways pattern. So it could be a possible dip buying opportunity, right? Hoping that it turns out and takes out resistance. Now, let's talk about something we're going to talk about more in a minute with Michael and Mehdi, Near Protocol. All right. Near Protocol is hanging out around $10.32. Major support was tested each of the last 6 days. I don't see any reason why Near can't go to 20 or 32. Absolutely parabolic on this next run up. We're going to get more details from Mehdi. This is from the block about all the NFTs and gaming projects inside of Near. Rose, something that Michael is looking at, okay, is holding support around 31 cents. And this could be a layer 1 sleeper if the metaverse and NFTs take off. Okay, Arweave moving this morning, right? A lot of this stuff got dumped and is turning around and moving, right? So it really speaks to the fact that going with green and having some position and then looking to buy a dip over the next week makes sense. Kaber, which we'll talk about more later, also showing up in our AI indices, which is why it's worth having a tokenmetrics.com subscription, because you want to be there when things turn around. You want to know what the AI is flagging while the market is starting to turn up, okay? Kaber on a 2-day chart looks like it's trying to break out at 185. All right, we'll talk more about what that project looks like. Okay, again, looks rare. We talked about that earlier. Aave, right, sort of like, you know, your dad's DeFi. Aave is firmly sort of rooted overseas, maybe less susceptible to U.S. regulation, and this looks like the start of a possible move off of a trend line. If Aave is above 160, there's potential. Phantom, people are buying dips on support we talked about previously at 195. Phantom, in our view, can make a new high, not investment advice. Herein Finance, all right, a long-term hodl. Downside risk is 20, so risk reward is not that great, but if it's above 25, buying the next dip could help. Okay, NFTs, Metaverse, and some DeFi may wind up coming back. Everyone gave up on all this stuff, and there could be a 30-day rally. Uniswap brought this up. Everybody blew me off, right? Understandably, there was huge support at 9.5, similar to where support was back in July, the same linear regression structure. And lo and behold, Uniswap up today. All right. And I'm sure no one wants to buy it because everyone's too scared to pay up and ape in. All right. Now, if you get a dip, great. But these kind of like old school beat up coins, right? You probably got 1 week to get in, right, before they absolutely smoke to the upside. Because it's pretty clear that all this stuff that people gave up on, right, that nobody owns it. Everybody packed it in and quit. That's why they're green every day. Okay. Phantasm, Sol, right? A little bit slower moving. Okay. A little bit sobering in terms of how they kind of hammered it below support, but people bought the dip today. Now we're going to talk more about this in a minute. All right. But some of our indices are up like 14, 15%. Kaber, beefy.finance showing up in the indices. All right, we're going to talk more about this in a second. Kaber possibly heading for 2. Okay, we have Telos, right, as another coin that we want to look at in this sector. Now, one of the things that we're going to talk about in a minute are EVM compatible coins, right? Remember, it was LFG, NFA, NFT, and EVM. My guys are going to go over in a minute what EVM compatibility means and why it could be a theme. Moon River is along this lines, pushed out of a car. Everybody gave up. This is Telos with a really nice Elliott wave count. Above 94 cents, it could be interesting. Okay, the same thing with Moonbeam, right? Everybody gave up, and now Moonbeam is starting to turn around. All right, folks, that's it for the market update. Let's go back and let's talk about the near chart. Mehdi, why don't you kick it off with what you're thinking about in terms of near and the near ecosystem? Give us some color about why near could take off.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. So firstly, one of the reasons why I'm very constructive on near, even in short run, is that they recently raised 150 million from big VCs. Now, these big VCs are not that important, but what's important is that that money, that ecosystem money, would be deployed in terms of infrastructure development of near ecosystem. So guys, when we saw AVAX having its moment, it had its moment when 180 million were deployed with DeFi incentives. And we saw with Phantom that 360 or 70 million were deployed for DeFi incentives. So same thing is with Near. They have $800 million dollars worth of grants that are being offered to other projects. And on top of that, recently they raised 150 billion with big VCs, and this money will be used for projects development, marketing, and so on and so forth. And now let's talk about this was the business development side of the protocol. Now let's talk about some of the technicalities, right? So in my opinion, Near has one of the best sharded mechanism, and the founders have a background from Google. So when a founder have a book has an extensive experience in Google, he'll be bringing some Google tools with him, and these Google tools are very visible when you kind of look at the user experience and user interface with different projects when you interact with it. So that's another reason why I like it. And moreover, with this sharded mechanism, you have immense scalability. The scalability is so huge that you can have 100,000 plus transaction, which is possible. But at the moment, Near is not kind of deploying that because it's quite nascent at the moment. Now, one thing I'm very excited about with Near is that this is something which I think market ignores, and I want you guys to know this, is that Near has Aurora. So Aurora is the EVM platform of Near, and the user interface is amazing. All the Ethereum projects can deploy there. Now they also have few other hidden weapons with them. One of the hidden weapon is Octopus Network. I can do a deep dive on it later if Bill allows me. But Octopus Network is also bringing Polkadot and potentially Cosmos project to Near network. So you can now think of a Near as a liquidity hub where you have Ethereum projects coming in, you have Polkadot projects coming in potentially with Octopus Network, and then with IBC enabled and IBC bridges, you might even have Cosmos project communicating with some of the projects in Near, or some of the projects in Near communicating with Cosmos. So again, it's one of the interesting things. It's one of the layer ones I like. Just speaking from the point of view of technology. Before I jump into the Octopus Network, there were a few questions in the question bar over here. I'll just address them one by one. So the first question I usually get is, what is the difference between Moon River and Moonbeam? So Mover token versus Glamour token. I think the major difference is that Moon River token is more decentralized and it's more experimental in nature. Since it's more experimental in nature, projects first deploy on Moon River, experiment there, which is via Kusama, and then go to Polkadot. So you are buying slightly more risk, and that chain, Moon River chain, will be optimized for NFT and gaming. So if you want NFT or gaming exposure, Moon River is your bet. Now, if you want DeFi exposure, Moonbeam should be your bet, because Moonbeam is slightly more secure and it's secured by Polkadot. Now, another question is, what's the difference between Kusama and Polkadot? So Polkadot is basically, you can say, sexier and secure version, and Kusama, you can say it's more chaotic and experimental version and more community driven. So all the unique experiment, all the crazy scientific experiments will happen on Kusama, which don't discount. I think a lot of innovation can come from that front, and more secure, more stable, more corporate-like projects will be building on Polkadot. So those were some of the questions you guys had. Bill, if I have your blessing, can I do like a small deep dive on Octopus Network, which I feel could be a very high beta play on Near Network?
Absolutely. So let me just recap what I think I just heard. So
Yes.
Near Protocol is not just a layer one, but Near Protocol could also have multiple angles. Like it has layer zero properties. Okay. So it's got a potential to be like a layer one play and a layer zero play, right? And it's also got metaverse and NFT potential. Did I get that right?
Yes. So the way its architecture is designed, it has a sharded mechanism, which means it will have a lot of very, very high speed and instant finality and a lot of transaction throughput. So that makes it an optimal chain in the future for NFTs in gaming. Now, I wouldn't call Near a layer zero, but there are few projects that are building on Near that will allow Near to be kind of layer zero via that project. So one of the project is Octopus Network. So I'll explain that later. But what Near is doing brilliantly is that they have different bridges. They have Rainbow Bridge that kind of bridges them to Ethereum. They are in talks with A Star, which will allow them to bridge towards Cosmos and communicate and transfer assets with Cosmos. And with IBC palette enabled, they might even be able to do cross-chain communication. So you have different flavors of high scalability, different flavors of interoperability and multi-chain narrative all simultaneously. Now, one concern I have is that people ask me, Mehdi, Near is very high, like the valuation is very high. I think relative valuation, I don't think it's that high. You can still compound, but I've been asked this question again and again: how can I get the exposure of Near that allows me to do potentially 100x, 50x, 10x, 30x, and also kind of give me exposure to Near? So one of the projects I found out was Octopus Network. So I've done two things. I'll do a mini deep dive here today, and I also got the CEO, the founder of Octopus Network on 100x show. The podcast will be deployed, I think, later today or maybe tomorrow. And I want you to watch that podcast and learn about Octopus Network a bit more. I thought the founder was amazing. He was really smart. He knew Polkadot inside out, and I think that's one of the reasons why he wants to disrupt Polkadot, because he understands Polkadot really good. And you have a project that is trying to build Polkadot on Near and has only 200 million valuation, which gives it a significant upside. So without further ado, if you don't have any other further questions, I'll just jump right into what Octopus Network is.
All right. So before you do that, so what I heard is Near can give you exposure across a wide range of crypto themes. It could also be thought of as like a way to get index exposure. It's something that Mehdi has talked about frequently. So not investment advice, but Near is close to support, and I'll leave that up to you. Mehdi, take it away with Octopus Network.
Guys, can you see my screen? Yes. So Octopus Network is a small cap gem, which basically, let's say, if Near Network goes 1% up, I think Octopus Network can go 5%, 4% up. So in equities and in technical language, this is called high beta play. So if you want the exposure of Near in a kind of a leverage and high beta play with slightly less risk, I think one of the projects you can look into is Octopus Network. So what Octopus Network is doing is trying to bring Polkadot and potentially in the future Cosmos to near ecosystem. And some of the projects by the way have been made. So I'm gonna do like a small deep dive, and hopefully this kind of makes sense for you guys. So first thing first, you have Near Protocol over here, and you have Octopus Network here. With Octopus Network, you can have different blockchains, and these blockchains are built via substrate framework. So substrate framework is it's the same framework that Polkadot uses. So let's say 5 different blockchains can be built on top of on Octopus Network. But then the question is, why would you build on Octopus Network? The first answer is Polkadot is very expensive. Polkadot auctions its parachain. Octopus Network is saying you don't have to take participation in auctions. Buy my token, and you can use my token to stake. When you stake my token, I'll give you a validator set. That validator set will basically secure your chain. So you're basically having out of the box security out of the box interoperability, on chain governance, and basically one stop infrastructure. So, any project that can be built on Polkadot can be deployed on Octopus Network cheaply. So, that's the value proposition Octopus Network is providing. And they're doing that on Near Protocol. So, all of this will be built on Near Protocol. So, all of these chains can communicate between each other, but can also communicate with projects built on top of Near Protocol. So for me, this makes it a very interesting play. It gives you kind of a exposure to Polkadot, also gives you exposure to Near, and the market cap is very small. So one of the questions I've been asked again and again, Mehdi, find me a hidden gem. I think this is your hidden gem. If the market kind of consolidates, this could be interesting to accumulate. Not financial advice. So basically they're saying that they are trying to solve the issues. So one of the reasons why you need app chain rather than dapps is that app chain, you can have your customized blockchain, and you can basically change the parameters of how many transactions you want. You can also change parameters whether you want on-chain governance or not, and you can quickly deploy your blockchain without having to worry about coding and stuff like that. So basically, easy way of deploying blockchain, easy way of basically launching. And anything that is built on Polkadot, if they cannot afford Polkadot or Kusama, they can basically deploy themselves on Octopus Network. Yeah, somebody in the comments is saying I have Octopus already. Good decision if you already have it. Great. So basically, these are some of the value proposition. I'm going to just skip it. So the token utility of Octopus Network is that with so they're providing you lease security as a service and interoperability as a service. So if you own Octopus Network, you can get yield from all the other projects basically deploying on Octopus Network to basically obtain security. So when they obtain security, they can only obtain security when they stake their Octopus Network. When they stake their Octopus Network, they get rewards in the native token of the blockchain that they're trying to secure. And with Octopus Network, they can also decide which app chain will be launched next. So as an Octopus token holder, you decide which project will be deployed on Near. So those two value proposition, are interesting. Somebody again asked, how can you buy Octopus? You can buy Octopus on Gate.io. So this is how the technical chart looks. I'm going to simplify it for you. So these are all the security providers validator set. These validator set basically will provide security to all of the projects being built on Octopus Relay. So Octopus Relays are basically smart contract on Near, and these will provide them security. Once they provide them security, these Octopus smart contracts can communicate between each other and can also communicate with Near protocol. So they can obtain all the DeFi services. They can also obtain tokens from, let's say, Ethereum via Rainbow Bridge. And also some of the data is stored on Arway. So let's say if there is an issue with regards to forkability, you can go back in time and kind of solve that. So this is just the technical nitty gritty of how the chain will look like. Now, this is the interesting part. I want you to bear with me for a second, not get overwhelmed by this chart. So what Octopus is trying to say is that, you know what, we build on Near, and you have different projects that communicate between each other. But then we are also built on Near, and Near has this Aurora EVM and Rainbow Bridge. So you can have access to Ethereum. You can have access to projects building on Aurora EVM, which are basically projects migrating from Ethereum or natively building using Solidity. You have native projects built on Near protocol. You basically can communicate with all of these projects. Then in the future with A Star, you will have IBC bridge. So any assets that is on Cosmos can basically be bridged towards Near, and Octopus can basically communicate with that as well. And then they are also thinking about IBC pallets and IBC bridge. So anything that is built on Octopus can also kind of communicate with IBC bridge, which is basically Cosmos hub. Octopus Relay supports anything that is built on Polkadot. So you also have a lot of projects that wants to deploy here. They can also deploy here. And with the partnership with A Star, they can also kind of communicate with projects on built on Polkadot. So when we talk about multi-chain world, you have Ethereum here, you have Cosmos here, you have Polkadot here, you have Near here, and you can combine all of this with Octopus Relay over here, and basically Octopus also has a cheap valuation. So you have two projects already launched here. One is called a DBO Network. It's a biomedical data marketplace. Another one is Myriad, which is basically a social media platform, allows you to monetize your data. And these are some of the backers. I think Electric Capital is a good backer. You have Digital Currency Group. You have Near ecosystem supporting them as well. And basically, they are saying that one of the disadvantages of Polkadot is that you can only have 100 parachains. But in this case, you can have thousands of parachains, thousands of app chains launching there. So this token can become really scarce. Uh, so the way the scarcity comes along is, I don't have the chart here. So let's say you have finite supply of 100 million octopus, and the demand grows for Octopus Network. So the price can go exponentially higher. Quickly, fully diluted valuation of different protocol. Atom is around 8 billion. Dot is 19 billion. Octopus is 230 million. So interesting risk reward. I'm not going to say that it cannot go down further. Obviously, it's market, anything can happen. But I think in terms of risk reward, it's interesting. If you compare it to the market's average sector valuation, which is 2.9, so all the smart contract on average has this valuation. Octopus is 230 to 250 million, again, very cheap. And now let's just do an exercise. Let's assume that it captures 4 to 6% market share of Near, then it has a ROI potential of 266% to 450%. Let's say it captures 4 to 5 sorry 4 to 6% of Atom, not Atom, sorry, Polkadot. This is not Near, this is Polkadot. Then you have a potential of 100% to 200. And let's say it captures 4 to 6% of Cosmos, then you have around 30% to 100x potential. So yeah, one of the hidden gems, low cap gems that can potentially give you a good return. Again, not financial advice.
All right. Thank you, Mehdi. So just for our listeners out there, when is the best time to listen to a fundamental analysts like Mehdi and Michael? Okay. When you're near the lows. Now, I understood Near, and I understood most of what Mehdi said about Octopus, but not everything. And that's okay. So that means you want to come back and watch the video again. And I will remind you that, as with DeFi way back when, the people who studied the thing that nobody understood are the ones that made the most money because they got in early. And as I said, you're going to make money in crypto being long. Okay. The month of February is where you want to do it. So, not investment advice, but if you're like, I didn't understand everything about Near Protocol, I get it. Okay. Well, study up on it. This is the time to do the work when you've got 4 to 5 green candles in a row. Now, so thank you, Mehdi. Let's switch over to Mike. Mike, why don't you give us a refresher on why you like Rose, and tell us if there's an NFT or metaverse play in there. Tell us about why you like Rose.
Sure thing. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. So I know there's been a few questions about Telos, so I just went ahead and did like the comparison breakdown. Oasis, Telos, found these projects pretty similar to what Octopus is doing inherently. One thing I liked about Oasis right now is that they have a $160 million ecosystem fund that was just launched. So very similar product and use case currently to Aurora and Near. And they also have their own paratime EVM compatible layer, much like Near does as well. So yeah, they just launched a $160 million ecosystem fund. And Oasis's architecture, it's split apart like a layer 0 is. So what that means inherently is there's a paratime and a consensus layer. So applications don't have to worry about underlying shared security for when they do launch an application on Oasis, and it has a capability of launching 1,000 paratimes. So instead of like Polkadot has 50 to 100 relay chains, this Oasis has the capability of launching 1,000 paratimes or relay chains, like Polkadot has. And the first one they're creating is Oasis Emerald paratime, and this paratime is an EVM compatible paratime. like Aurora was specifically compatible to EVM applications for Near. Oasis is doing the same thing, but this paradigm layer is for EVM applications to bring the ecosystem effects of Ethereum into Oasis. And currently they have 1,000 transactions per second on this paradigm, but it's not limited to this individual one. Again, they have the capability of launching 1,000 plus paradigms in congruence with their consensus mechanism. So hypothetically, Rose has a chance to execute close to 1 million transactions per second.
So
And yeah.
So would you say that with the Rose and move them to other blockchains to get better speed and lower transaction fees, would Rose benefit from that?
Yeah, definitely. So Rose is inherently, again, it's built on IBC, which is the Cosmos, created consensus mechanism, and it has the ability to plug in, as I just mentioned, EVM paradigms from, dApps developing on Ethereum, and their native stack or programming language is not specific to one language. They have, Rust compatibility, so even applications that have launched on Solana can have the potential to launch on Oasis in a specific paradigm in the future.
Interesting.
And yeah, on top of that, they can also include WebAssembly paradigms and paradigms for substrate as well. So it's like a blockchain that inherently can connect all blockchains together. So that's one reason we're really looking at it. And they're doing this by having 1,000 paradigms or 1,000 relay chains.
I see. And Telos is in the same group. Just as a reminder out there to the viewers, Telos is actually showing up in some of our AI indices. So Telos and Rose, if we were in equities, you would consider them to be in like the same sector or terms of functionality. Is that accurate?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, but I would just add, sorry, Michael, I would just add that Oasis long term, we would regard as something which is more reliable, more consistent, and has a higher ROI potential and network effect potential. Telos have some concern regarding the decentralization element of it. I think it's just picking up today because if you see Moonriver, Moonbeam, a lot of EVM are just picking up. So it just could be sector rotation at the moment, where people are kind of shifting away from layer one to EVM. But if you're thinking about allocating long term in terms of your portfolio, Oasis is something which Mike has spoken about. It's built through IBC Cosmos SDK, which is brilliant. It's an amazing technology stack. And also, some of our people inside Token Metrics are also very bullish on it. Some of the other analysts who have looked into Oasis deeply, they basically message me again and again, say, Mehdi, I love this project. You need to do a deep dive. So I haven't done a deep dive, but I've looked into it briefly. It has amazing backers. It has very good team, and the architecture is brilliant. It can also be kind of like a layer zero narrative. So Oasis is both EVM plus layer zero. So preferably, my bet will be on Oasis.
Yeah, definitely. And one unique thing that Oasis is doing is it's one of the first, private blockchains. So they have the capability of, if more traditional companies begin using blockchain capabilities, they have the capability of, tokenizing their data that they deem valuable and selling it on open market as well. So that's like another feature that they can leverage in the future. But in terms of Telos, it's a layer one or layer zero capable blockchain. I mean, it has EVM compatibility, Viper based contract, virtual machine compatibility as well. And right now they have an EVM compatible layer that offers zero transaction fees, and it's also no front running blockchain. So that's really interesting. Things to look out for in Telos. I noticed in their roadmap, they're creating location mining. So it's kind of similar concept to Helium network. So they're going to be employing that in the future. And they're also introducing their own private blockchain layer and D storage, which is, competitive with both, secret network Oasis in terms of the private layer and the D storage with, IPFS softwares or protocols like Filecoin. So it has a lot of reach and hopes, but currently it's underlooked, overlooked. one takeaway that I thought was not that great was the fact that it only has 21 active validators or block producers versus Oasis 100 plus. So not as decentralized as we'd like.
All right. So you bring up a good point there. What we're telling you out there in TV land is and he's got the right word. What crypto projects have got reach, right? What can do more than one thing? What can talk to more than one blockchain? And this whole idea of EVM is not being talked about now, which is why we're talking about it. Okay. So you can watch the video again, right? Turn on alerts, subscribe, and most of all, visit tokenmetrics.com to get the research that these two gentlemen put together. All right. So let's review. Metaverse. Okay. We've got NFTs. We've got EVM compatibility. We've got big caps like Near, small caps like Octopus, right? And we've got things like Oasis Rose that we've talked about, right? And there are probably going to be coins in these sectors, which our AI are going to pick up on, that could wind up momentum plays if a dip evolves. Again, when do you want to listen to fundamental analysts? You want to listen to fundamental analysts when a bottom is potentially being made and there are dip buying opportunities. Actually, you want to always listen to fundamental analysts because they'll tell you when things are overvalued, right? But in a kind of a long-only world that retail lives in, now is the time. So, Mike, we also saw some stuff in our indices. There was beefy.finance and Kaber. And I understand that sort of like the cross-chain theme may be prevalent there. Is there anything descriptive you can tell us about those two coins that our AI is picking up on?
Yeah, so they're introducing, cross-chain bridging, as well as, beefy.finance specifically is doing cross-chain liquidity providing. So what you could do on beefy.finance is, go on there, choose a network of your choice, and hypothetically find, liquidity pools that you want to enter across, Moonriver, Ethereum-based applications, Binance Smart Chain-based applications. That's for beefy.finance. I could pull up the website here real quick for you guys.
Yeah, I think they're kind of solving a major pain point in the industry. Is that, let's say if you're a yield farmer, if you want to provide liquidity, oh my god, it's so like it's really pain in the butt, to put it frankly. Where do I go? Like hundreds of wallets, hundreds of different pools, different website. So they're just trying to make life easier. I haven't done a deep dive, so I wouldn't say this is fundamentally I have a lot of conviction in. But I think just looking at the product, I was like, wow, this is so much. Like this will save me so much time if I'm into yield farming.
Yeah, 100%. So we could see here I'm on the Moonriver network. They have 48 active vaults. And if you have, underlying assets, for example, if you have, ETH USDT, you come in here, provide liquidity, and earn 17.9% APY. And you could also see how much values locked into each individual smart contract here. So yeah, pretty interesting liquidity providing, multi-chain liquidity providing project, but inherent risks are going to be in smart contracts that are underlying these vaults. And Kaber network can see what that is just a recreation of Kaber network's original product, and what they're doing now is creating a multi-chain support that allows users to store their wallets on various blockchains within Kaber network's app, as well as swap between various networks with their multi-chain bridges. So yeah, very cool project. Competitor that's prominent would be Synapse, maybe Math Wallet as well.
All right, thank you, Michael. The larger point is, if you're on tokenmetrics.com, okay, and you're seeing low caps start popping up in indices, all right, now is the time to learn as much as you can. What we wanted to show you today is kind of how our analysts, that would be Mehdi and Mike, would look at certain projects that they would see that pop up and like, hey, there's a small cap universe out there, right? And 30 days in crypto, right? If you've got the month of February and possibly longer than that to make money in crypto, what did we give you today? Well, we gave you layer ones, right? We gave you EVM compatibility. We talked Metaverse, okay? We briefly mentioned NFTs. By the way, our NFT newsletter or our prototype scoring sheet will be coming out later today for Token Metrics customers. Now, I know that you guys have been going crazy in the chat, right? So let me bring up Altcoin Overtime just briefly, right? Because I know that, y'all are going nuts out there and I don't want you to explode, okay? So I will bring some of this up briefly just so we can, get some of these requests taken care of, right? So, you don't go crazy, right? We definitely appreciate your enthusiasm. And this is the point, folks, where we want you to hit the like button, right? We've been getting, I don't know, 400 likes over the course of, say, a video release. And we want you to be out there hitting the button, okay? If you're doing it now, that's great. Or if anybody's watching the video and doing it later, give us some love, especially for our fundamental analysts who are telling you about stuff before everyone else is telling you about stuff. Now let's go to Altcoin Overtime. Okay, don't forget about the accumulation cone in Near Protocol. We covered this last week. Some very old school analysis from a guy like Jesse Livermore. Near is making an accumulation cone. What does that mean? Based on old school technical analysis that was actually handwritten in a diary, Near is making a very similar formation and actually could go up a lot. Okay, Harmony, a smart contract protocol, is actually probably trying to make a bottom formation. I don't know if it's going to rocket to the upside, but it's holding, right? And there's that saying, the bigger the base, the higher in the space. Same could be true for Audius, right? Every time Audius collapses below $1, people have regretted it not grabbing it below $1, right? That's really all I can say. In other words, when this thing gets killed, it gets killed. But when it comes back, it could come back hard. Last time they killed it in July, and then the next thing you know, 2 months later, the TikTok news was out. So the idea of value investing in crypto over the next 30 days is there. That theme is also prevalent in KDA, right? I talked last week about the 6 zone had a kind of hold. Notice how KDA is kind of like, I don't know, it's scaring you a little bit. It's up, it's down, it dips. And the question is, the market seems a little bit unsure of itself. And you know what? He who hesitates is lost, okay? The market is giving you an opportunity from a risk-reward standpoint. So not investment advice, all right? KDA has some good properties, right, and some not so good properties. It might be a little bit overvalued, but Mike, I know that you kind of have a positive bend towards KDA. Is there anything you can tell us about this coin?
KDA, theoretically, they have the capabilities of executing 300 transactions plus per second. Right now, it's a proof of work protocol mainly, so that there is some inherent speculations on how much it would scale and how fast it will be as a proof of work coin. But I like the overarching theme of it, narrative. I believe they have their first DApp, beefy.finance, that was launched on there. So we are seeing some ecosystem developments there. We just would see a catalyst more if there was a fund that was deployed, much like Near and Oasis had recently.
Okay, so good thing to know for people out there who are interested in KDA, right? So it was a lot of hype, and now the question is, where's the development and the smart contracts? Noticing that SNX, Synthetics, has got a bid to it. Synthetics has been probably trying to go up for a while, keeps getting slammed because the market gets slammed, but there's obviously something going on here and a possible tokenomics shift. Somebody in the DeFi 1.0 area is going to get it together. So if you've got a 30-day rally, one thing to consider is, what do you buy? You buy what no one owns. How do you know that no one owns it? Well, when it's green for 5 days in a row, right? So that's why if you get dips in the first week of February, or you get a lull in price action around the Olympics, you want to do your homework like Santa and make a list and check it twice, right? Some other things to consider, okay? Coinbase stock, right? We talked about this. Someone said, what about Coinbase stock? I said, wait for a new low. Okay, Coinbase stock totally blew up. It went below 225 or 211, right? It went all the way down to 175, right? And everybody was selling it like it's going to zero. Okay, so I think that gap at 220 is going to get filled. And this whole idea of getting indexed exposure to crypto over the next 30 days. 30 days in equities is not a lot. 30 days in crypto can be an eternity. It could be an eternity, particularly since everyone just gave up on the whole sector unnecessarily. Galaxy Digital weekly, okay, big press down to 1377, a lot of volatility. If Galaxy Digital can get above 15 and keep going, there's no reason why Galaxy can't go to 22. If Galaxy goes to 22, where's Sandbox going to be? Now, I know Decentraland is up a lot today because it's catching up to Sandbox, but, I was, just sort of DM'd during the stream just to remind everybody that, Medi from a fundamental standpoint likes Sandbox, okay, better than Decentraland. So I know Decentraland's got a lot of room to go up on charts, but you just might want to think about that as you plan your portfolio, right? LFG, NFA, NFT, Metaverse, BTFD, right? Remember that. Polkadot. Who's talking about Polkadot? Nobody. Nobody. Everybody gave up on this whole interoperability theme. Now, Near might capture some market value, but again, everyone gave up on Polkadot from 28 down to 17, which means Polkadot's got a lot of room to go back to 28. FTT, been pounding the table on this, got hosed a little bit during the give up trade. And honestly, I don't care, right? This could be the next Binance coin. So if you get a 30-day rally, FTX could go to 56 or 60. If you get a 90-day rally, you could see FTT at 80. Okay, not investment advice, but people want to buy this coin, particularly since everyone just got hosed, which reminds me of Near when we first followed it. Near started at 9, went to 6, and then went to 19. I don't see any reason why FTT could not become the next hot exchange token. Okay, GHST. Okay, not perfect, but possibly waking up. All of these metaverse coins, right, that were given up for dead are waking up. Okay, Axie Infinity. Somebody's asking me about Axie. Everyone's probably sort of caught in this. I know there was some negative fundamental news that came out, right, and it's not doing much. But when you do value investing, one of two things is going to happen. It's either a trap, okay, and it's down for a reason and not going to come back, or everyone just gave up on it. And if there's a metaverse NFT rally, that could create a broadening of the bid, right? A title for a future stream. The broadening of the bid could help Axie. Okay, AVAX. Okay, not the hot coin of the moment, right? But that doesn't mean it can't come back, particularly if Avalanche has a metaverse angle, which if you watch Medi's Avalanche deep dive on our YouTube channel, you might see that Avalanche does have metaverse and NFT capability. And everybody is sort of not looking at it, right? When Avalanche was at 150, everyone was talking about it. Now Avalanche is sitting below 73. That's the key point it's got to get above, but no one's talking about it. When do you want to talk about stuff? When everyone's talking about it, or when no one's talking about it. Go ahead.
And one more thing to add, Abel. Let me just quickly share my screen. This will be my pitch to basically get you guys. 1 second. to get subscription to Token Metrics. A few days ago, we just did a deep dive investment report on Avalanche. So if you guys are looking at this and if you want to become customers of Token Metrics, you can have deep dive access to some of the things we like. So Avalanche, I was very bullish on. You can see I gave you all the on-chain data. I gave you in-depth valuation model, uh, and one valuation model was based on TVL. One was based on transactions. Gave you the list of all the partnerships, all the developments that are happening, even the risk, and also conclusion and also TA. So all in all, 14-15 page of in-depth report on why we like Avalanche, and we don't stop here, guys. So after this deep dive, I'm also getting Emin next week to Token Metrics for our podcast. So stay tuned for that. And we like if when you become a customer of Token Metrics, not only you get ML, AI, TA, but also fundamental deep dives. And we also are expanding our team with different sectors, so you get this in-house capabilities to cover nearly every coin in the cryptoverse.
All right. Thank you, Mehdi. All right. One more thing, Mike, I'm putting you on the spot here, but can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with CryptoPunks? I know that there was like a development where it seems like this whole rally started to take off when, CryptoPunks had like a positive catalyst. Did you track that at all? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so from my understanding, there was an original CryptoPunks version 1 deployment of the original project that had occurred, when they originally launched, but there was a smart contract bug or error in that code, and those original CryptoPunks all got essentially scrapped. But now they're coming back, they're making a turnaround, and a lot of people are getting interested in them because they were the original CryptoPunks that were created. I believe they went from the close to 5 ETH to 10 ETH floor in approximately 2 days. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. But I mean, in terms of growth moving forward, I think, the V2, the ones that are more popular and more pricey, are going to continue, their uptrend and their original market share that they had captured.
All right. Thank you, Mike. So let's talk about NFTs for just 1 second. First of all, just a reminder, NFTs can go to zero. Okay. You want to check utility. All right. And you don't want to FOMO into NFTs just because the narrative is picking up again. You want to make sure you know what you're doing. We have a scorecard that's coming out to give you ideas. All right. Now, that said, art and stocks are not correlated. We published on this a while back, okay? And it's very clear, right, that money is getting parked in NFTs, all right? Particularly since the price, the currencies that the NFTs are denominated in, that's like Solana, ETH, Near, okay, Avalanche, okay, have absolutely been hammered. So the prices of the NFTs may be rising or steady, but the currencies you use to buy them are 50% off. Okay. So earlier in the stream, and this is how I'm going to kind of wrap it up, the Fed is still printing money. There's uncertainty about there, but markets like to climb the wall of worry. What does that mean? Well, when people are worried, okay, they shy away from buying things. They get a little scared. So when do you wake up? Okay. When do you pay attention? When people are afraid, right? And with NFTs, because they're scary, it requires a third layer of bravery, all right? That's why people are like, wait a minute, there's a problem with the market. There's a problem in Russia. Stocks may blow up, and you want me to buy NFTs? Well, it's not investment advice, but it's sort of a little bit of contrarian thinking, right? Think about it. License to speculate. What do people speculate in? All right. What does smart money do? They get in early. They get in early. So if you can't play in NFTs, there are metaverse tokens, right? If you're only on a centralized exchange, maybe you have limited choices. But if you're going to make money in crypto being long, not investment advice, but February is the time to do it. And if something scary happens early in February, that's the time to consider getting involved. So today, right, on the last day of January, it's easy to get bullish because everything's green. But if everything turns red tomorrow, when you're watching this video, that's the time to look at the projects we're talking about, right? Sandbox, Decentraland, right? Near, Octopus, Rose, right? Checking what our AI is saying, Kaber, beefy.finance. Do those projects stay in the indexes? Ecomi.
Maybe Bill also show them the gaming and NFT ecosystem of Near. I think that is one of the ecosystem, not just the Near token itself, but the ecosystem of gaming, metaverse, and NFT in Near can blow up. I'm primarily saying that because I feel like the architecture of that blockchain is primarily designed to optimize gaming performance, NFT marketplace, and innovation on that front. So I was speaking with some of my junior analysts, and they were showing me some of the arts on the NFTs produced in Near ecosystem, and I was very impressed. And the floor price also kind of seemed cheap.
Okay, so these are the projects. This is probably something for your smartphone. Take a screenshot of this. This comes from our friends over at The Block. So want to give them credit for sort of like putting NFTs and gaming on Near. So think about it, folks. Who's talking about NFTs and gaming on Near? Nobody. Okay, we are. Actually, The Block is also thinking about it. So again, if you've got the smart researchers talking about it, right? I like to think Mike and Mehdi are smarter than people at other firms because I'm biased. But if you take a look at some of these projects and you're looking for smaller cap stuff, okay, this might be the place to go do it, right? Whatever you're going to do, okay, make sure that you follow the advice of one of my karate instructors when we would do self-defense. So we would rehearse self-defense maneuvers that you would memorize, like 1 through 15. And then he would ask us, what do you do if you forget a self-defense move? If you forget like what number 3 was? Well, he would remind us that if you don't know what to do something. Do something. If you don't know what to research in crypto, that's okay. We're giving you a hint. But in February, right, do something. Look, listen, okay? And if there's a dip, my attitude is you want to buy fear in February, not probably in March, not buy it at the top, but you want to buy any fear you can get because it's clear money is flowing into certain sectors. And we want to give you a heads up on that. Okay, so that's going to be it for today, right? I want to thank everybody on the stream, right? We didn't get to chit chat with you as much as we would like, right? I appreciate everybody who's out there viewing our work, okay? So hats off to you, all right? I will be here tomorrow, all right? I'm wishing you well, all right? Keep an eye on the news, all right? So I'm your host, Bill Noble. That's it for today. I will see you tomorrow.